We have an update on the Robert Downey Jr. Doctor Doom reshoot situation that caused another actor to speak up, become very vocal, and it led to a confrontation on the set of Avengers Doomsday, with the film inevitably being delayed from May of next year into December. Well, new details are pointing out what happened, what type of confrontation it was, and even who might have been involved. The ongoing saga of what exactly happened on the set of Avengers Doomsday is still very much fresh, and we're slowly getting new details that trickle in every couple of days. The latest is a pretty substantial update according to everybody talking about it. I'm going to break it down for you guys in this because there's a lot to go over. But the point of this is, and I'll just tell you right out the gate, is that we still don't have a complete story. I've seen some people saying, oh, everything is revealed, the entire confrontation, here's who was involved. And then they waste 15 minutes of your time and tell you nothing outside of what we already had. You know, there's just nothing. What I'm going to tell you right up front is that we got more details, but they still don't confirm who was involved entirely. That's what we're dealing with here. And we now know when everything started. So per all the reports, what can be confirmed is this all started with Robert Downey Jr. saying he does not want the body double to do the job for Doctor Doom. He wanted to reshoot all the scenes where the double was in the suit with him in the suit and doing all the dialogue work. So essentially, it sounds like it was 4-ish plus weeks of material that was all scrapped in favor of Robert Downey Jr. doing the job. Okay, that's confirmed. Now, what else we know, and it is confirmed, it's fact, is that somebody did not like this. They brought it up with Marvel Studios and apparently with Robert Downey Jr., and this is where the confrontation happened. So this is where the story gets into some of the new details, what we've heard, and definitely who wasn't involved. What can be confirmed is, nope, people that were trying to drag Pedro Pascal, it was not him. Per accounts, he wasn't even involved with a majority of the Doctor Doom scenes that they were shooting, as he was involved with a completely different sequence, which was confirmed by Nightcrawler actor Alan Cumming. So now let's talk about the latest big update, if you will. So this update comes at us from John Rocha. Ever since I talked about him last time, I did do my research. As most of you know, I do not follow anybody that talks comic books or scoops or anything like that. My algorithm is completely different in my personal life. I try to separate what I do here away from all the stuff I consume. So now I know who he is, and thank you for people who reached out to me personally on various social media to also let me know, oh, you can trust he said this, he knows this guy, he's tuned into this. I very much appreciate it when you guys do that because it actually helps me so I know a little bit more. So now I know exactly who he is, who he's connected to, and what he's done. If I'm still saying his last name wrong, I'm sorry about that. But essentially, he dropped a update on this, talking about what happened. So he doesn't mention any names. I want to clarify why. If anybody actually knows names, and I know somebody that's told me that they know, but they're not allowed to say it because if I say something or I slip up, then it could lead to them. It's a tough situation because of non-disclosures and them not wanting this to go super public. John is also not going to disclose, even if he knows, because you'd have to be an idiot to try to chase clout by ruining your life. He said that Ryan Reynolds was not involved. Now, that was the other working theory. Now, on top of this, he also mentions that Robert Downey Jr. is not necessarily the one that instigated it, by all accounts, not involved in it in that way. So again, we're kind of in a different position now where we're looking at this, and what it seems like is that there are co-stars here that are upset, and that there was verbal confrontations and verbal altercations with nothing physical. Now, I think this is important and people need to understand this. It doesn't sound like anybody threw a punch. Nobody took a shot at somebody. It wasn't some sort of backstage incident. Nobody's arm got bit. Nothing like that, okay? It was a heated debate, and people got really upset and worked up and were more or less in each other's faces without anybody taking it to the next step. And again, he doesn't disclose who this is, but he feels like that the aggravated party, as he puts it, had every right to react the way that they did from whatever happened, whatever this blow up was about. Now, again, if the blow up is, hey, he wants to reshoot 4 weeks worth of content that we just shot, and I now have to go tell my agents to scrap jobs I had lined up for, to delay them or possibly pull me from the project, yeah, you can see how somebody's going to be pissed because they're missing out on a payday. Pedro Pascal was supposed to star in Weapons, but another commitment, because of delays, prevented him from being in that movie, and Josh Brolin stepped in. Pedro could have made bank off of Weapons because of its reception and the fact that he does apparently now get a small end of the back end of specific films he's in. So again, actors typically will mention to the studios being like, look, you delaying this or you having to reshoot this puts a dent in my schedule that I had lined up. Now I have to drop this project. It's happened before. You know, with Batman v Superman and Justice League, multiple actors were screwed over out of multiple projects because of false starts and reshoots. It just happens. And this brings me to the newest speculation of who was behind this. And it might be Captain America, not Sam Wilson. We're talking about Captain America, Steve Rogers himself, apparently Chris Evans. I'm just going to say no right out the gate. I think people are just starting to start stuff to bring back their who was right, Chris Evans, Captain America, or Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. Blah, blah, blah. Guys, I'm sorry. Chris Evans seemingly is in this film for maybe a quickish cameo, if that. If you're lucky, you're going to get something like that and nothing more. There is no way, absolutely no way, that he threw a fuss over this, because what else is he in? What's he shooting? What's he doing these days? Nothing. Right? I think this is just people trying to make something out of nothing and looking at other actors that they're like, oh, who might have an ego? I'll let you know who has an ego. Every single actor has an ego. Why? Especially ones that are being paid multi-millions of dollars, because they are idolized and literally looked up to by everyday people. You have to have an ego to be an actor. That is just a fact, guys. That's how it goes for sports, professional wrestling, anything. You get big, you get an ego. It happens with YouTubers, for the love of God. You know, like, it's just how it is. I don't think there's nothing here to Chris Evans. I'm going to be real with you. I think it's just fear-mongering. I could be wrong. But apparently, it's not Chris Evans, it's not Pedro Pascal, and it's not Ryan Reynolds. Which then makes me question, who is it? People keep saying Mark Ruffalo. Guys, he's not shooting the film. He's not even shooting Spider-Man. Or wasn't at the time. He's been out in the streets, protesting G-Side. Like, stop trying to make Mark Ruffalo hate a thing. It's not going to work. Everybody can just fact check you by looking up Mark Ruffalo and what he's been doing and go, oh, you're just lying. Cool. We don't know who it is, but trust me, when we find out, if we find out, we're going to talk about it, and then we're going to know all the details. So stay tuned. Thank you for checking out that video, and thank you for your continued support. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, do whatever you will, and if you're so inclined and would like some additional content from us, which includes unfiltered content and bonus discussions, we do offer exclusively in our member section. We hope to see you there. So thank you for watching and have a good one.